everybody. I'm Brian David Marshall, Pro Tour Historian Emeritus. Hello, Hall of Fame alumni, Wizards of the Coast staff and personnel, and friends and family here and at home. Welcome to the induction ceremony for the 2019 class of the Magic the Gathering Hall of Fame. This class is a unique entry in the 15 years of inductions that I've been overseeing. We only had one person reach the voting threshold necessary to be included in this august body. That person smashed through that barrier very handily to achieve the third highest voting percentage in the history of the Hall of Fame. Only John Finkel and LSV, players that he had followed on coverage before his Pro Tour career began, have posted higher totals in these past 15 years. Now, we're going to hear a lot of people talking about how nice our inductee is. They're going to talk about how nice he is. And I want to take a moment to point out how hard it is to be nice. To illustrate, when I first got hired on to do coverage, the powers that be made a one curse word rule for me. They didn't think I could manage to be on camera for hours at a time without breaking down and dropping a beloved profanity into the play-by-play. And I never used it. I didn't. I've never taken advantage of it. But it was hard. It was very, very hard to do. But it's never seemed difficult for our Hall of Famer to be one of the absolute kindest and sportsmanlike and generous players on the Pro Tour, while somehow at the same time utterly dominating his competition with his own iconic style of play. Now, speaking of that style of play, I was asked by our inductee to single out a handful of people for special thanks. He wanted to thank Devin Lowe, Eric Lauer, and Mike Turian. Of course, R&D members responsible for Thoughtseize, Liliana of the Vale, and Tarmogoyf. He couldn't have done it without you. Actually, he probably would have just still done it without you. But he instead chose to play his brand of fair magic, Jund and Obzon. Fair magic, while also always being a person who is the epitome of sportsmanship. Clean lines of play and clean lines of communication. He's delightfully old-fashioned in that approach. If I can paraphrase a Hall of Fame discussion from another sport about another player, I am proud to be here today to welcome a man who is 100% magic and 0% bullshirt.
Reid Duke is easily, from my perspective, in 100% seriousness, the best person I've ever met.
The United States Reid Duke began playing Magic when he was just 5 years old, alongside his older brother Ian.
Back in those days, we really had to learn the fundamentals and understand, the basic principles of the game. And I think that he's able to explain, not only to himself, but also to others why certain ideas are working and why others aren't.
It was not long before Reid was tagging along with his brother and cousin Logan Nettles to competitive events and devouring coverage of his idols, John Finkel and Kai Budde.
I mean, he just actually feels sorry when his opponent is mana screwed, even in an important match. It's just super strange to me. Obviously, I'm also going to say, yeah, I'm sorry that was a bad game or something, but I think both me and my opponent realize that I don't really mean it.
It was not until 2010 that he experienced the highest levels of competition, when the Magic Online Championship qualified him for his Pro Tour debut in Amsterdam. He liked it so much that he ground out invites for the next 6 Pro Tours, despite never stringing those invitations together. That all changed in 2011 when he was once again qualified for the Mox, but this time emerged as the world champion, playing a deck that is most associated with his career and success.
If you had to go into a lab and just create the perfect ambassador for Magic, it would be Reid Duke.
He's kind of an example of someone who just made the right decision so many times when it comes to how he plays games, like what decks he plays, and so forth. And it's really paid off for him.
Combined with a strong finish at Paper Worlds that year, he firmly established himself as a fixture at the highest level of the game. Over the course of the next 2 World Championships, Reid would display his trademark tenacity and dedication when he meticulously detailed everything he could have done better after a last place finish in 2012.
He had a notebook, he wrote down all his mistakes, he went home, he read it a bunch, and he tried to learn from it. And I think what really exemplifies Reid Duke is that he went back next year and he got second place.
His first of 4 top 8s in large field tournaments came at Pro Tour Journey into Knicks, giving him 6 top finishes in his first year of Hall of Fame eligibility. His extensive list of accomplishments includes winning the Pro Tour Team Championship in 2018 alongside childhood idol John Finkel and Team Ultimate Guard. And his Grand Prix resume features 23 top 8s, including 6 victories.
It's easy to forget how good he actually is, because the defining trait of him as a person is that he's really nice and a really good person. But then you look back at his results, and he's actually incredibly good. He's so consistent. It's very impressive that you go back in a person's history so far and they have no bad result.
But Duke's career has been just as impressive away from the table. He is a beloved figure in the community.
Kind of poster boy of Magic. He has great values, and you can see that in every way he interacts, whether it's when he's playing a game, interacting with his friends, interacting with strangers. It's pretty obvious, I think.
His insightful strategic content that is somehow able to speak to expert and novice alike.
The clarity of his prose, the clarity of his ideas always stood out above and beyond anyone else.
Combined with his sportsmanship and goodwill, provide a template that every Magic player can aspire to.
Grand Prix Miami, he won the tournament, and on the way to take his trophy picture, there was a car broken down, and he helped the people push the car down the street to the gas station on the way to take his trophy picture. That pretty much sums it up.
Everybody, please join me in welcoming Reid Duke to the Magic the Gathering Hall of Fame. Well done by you.
Thanks everybody for being here tonight. Thanks for staying after the food's already been served. That's pretty good. This room is filled with the people who've helped me become the person that I am, and the people who've helped Magic become the game that it is. So this night wouldn't be possible without all of your contributions, so I'd like to start by saying thanks to the people in this room. We're here at the last of the old style Pro Tours, possibly the last year of the Hall of Fame in its current form. It's a really big time for Magic the Gathering. There's tons of great new stuff to look forward to, and a little bit of nostalgic stuff that's passing into the history books. It's awesome to look back on 15 years of BDM introducing new Hall of Fame inductees. It's equally awesome to think about what the next 15 years might have in store. To me, it feels fitting that I should fall into this particular class of the Hall of Fame. And the reason I say that is I'm no great talent for this game. I'm here because I watched, and I listened, and I did it for over a decade. All the great players that I've cheered for, that I've worked with, and that I've taken beatings from, I tried to take something from each and every one of them and incorporate it the best way that I could into the way that I play the game. The patience of Ben Rubin, the sportsmanship of Paul Rietzel, the precision of Shota Yasuoka, the dedication of Kai Budde, the genius of Gabriel Nassif. I've had the whole history of the Pro Tour to learn from, and the whole history of the Pro Tour has made me what I am. It's hard to imagine a night like tonight when you're first getting your start. And part of that is that people with strong foresight for the future don't choose careers in professional gaming. but it's also true. It's also true that the earliest stages of a Magic career are the hardest. For every highlight that they put in the slideshow to make me look cool, there were 20 events where I showed up and I didn't get the results that I wanted, where I failed, had to pick myself up and say, I'll do better next time. It's not easy, but I had two distinct advantages back then. The first is that I had family and friends who told me it was cool to put myself out on a limb, to do something that I loved, even if the outcome was uncertain. And the second was an unlimited love for Magic the Gathering. The toughest point in every player's career comes in the midst of a bad losing streak when they start to ask themselves, what else should I be doing with my life? I got to skip that step I knew that I could never give up, no matter what. Because the earliest stages of Magic career are the hardest, my first specific thank yous go to my cousin Logan and my brother Ian, who have both been with me every step of the way. Logan, who in 12 years never once told me he was too busy to take a look at my sealed deck, weigh in on a mulligan decision, or iron out 15th sideboard card in Jund. And Ian, my brilliant and talented brother, who of all the things he could have done with those talents, always made it a priority to teach, to lead, and to set a good example for those around him. As I enter a new stage of my Magic career tonight, I'm going to make it a goal to do for others in that regard some small fraction of what my brother did for me. You know, I used to dream of being the best Magic player in the world. And while I don't necessarily think that I ever achieved that particular goal, somewhere along the line, I found something even better, something more rewarding. That was to be a part of the best team in the world. Whether you call it the Peach Garden Oath, the Ultimate Guard Pro Team, or the Pantheon, it's safe to say that I wouldn't be up here without my teammates. So to Owen, Huey, and everyone else, thanks for letting me come along for the ride. Being on a team means sharing everything that Magic has to offer, means sharing the successes, means sharing the good times and the bad. Most of all, it means seeing what Magic can give to others. So let's go into this new era of Magic the Gathering with excitement for what's to come. That same joy and fulfillment that Magic gave to young Reid, let's give that to every single person who's willing to try what we have to offer. But while we're at it, let's continue to celebrate our awesome history and keep in mind that this is simply one more chapter added to a book that's already 30 years in the making. With that, I can't think of any better way to end than the way the great Li Shitian did last year, and that's to wish a bright future for Magic all over the world. Thanks. Thanks, Brian. Thanks a lot for being here.
The 2019 class of the Magic the Gathering Hall of Fame.